What's going on, everybody? My name is Justin Godsey for Justin Godsey TV. Thank you so much for checking out tonight's video. Now, tonight, guys, we're going to be talking about the Arizona Cardinals and Carson Palmer. Before we get into that, I really do apologize for not making a video the past couple of days. Today is actually my birthday, so I decided to wait for this video. I know it's a very late night upload. November 9th was the day I was born. I don't know if you guys are saying that's November 10th, November the 11th, whatever the case may be. But November 9th is my birthday, and I decided to spend the entire day, watching the games with the family, relaxing, so I could go back to work this upcoming week. So, got a couple of videos I want to start, publishing before next week and before UFC really kicks off. There's going to be a UFC fight card on Saturday night, so I'm very looking forward to seeing that. It's going to be Fabricio Verdum taking on Mark Hunt, so I'm going to be previewing a couple of the bouts on that fight card. But now that's the weekend, it's Sunday, going into Monday. There's a lot of great NFL action going on this week. There was a couple of bye weeks. My Chargers were on a bye, so just, relaxing Sunday. So today, I was watching the Arizona Cardinals and the St. Louis Rams. It was a much of a back and forth kind of battle between the two. But everything came down to the fourth quarter. Both teams were just neck and neck with each other. It came into the fourth quarter. Austin Davis was playing very, very well until this, until the couple of drives into the fourth quarter is where they completely just lost everything. The St. Louis Rams, just completely lost it. They gave, Arizona Cardinals the victory. They just handed it to them. Austin Davis was making a lot of rookie mistakes. Yes, he's a very inexperienced quarterback, but he has learned a whole lot over the past couple of weeks. And today, it was just not his day. He cost the St. Louis Rams, the game, throwing a couple of interceptions, fumbling the ball. It was just, just a completely downward spiral for the St. Louis Rams team. A very disappointing loss and a much-needed victory in order to knock off the Arizona Cardinals, who were 7-1 at the time, as they are now 8-1. Yes, the Arizona Cardinals may have won this game, but you know what? They're going to be without quarterback Carson Palmer for the immediate future. Carson Palmer actually went down with a potential ACL injury in the fourth quarter of today's game. It was a pretty interesting play because everybody was thinking that it was going to be Carson Palmer's shoulder. People were also expecting, is Carson Palmer's, nerve injury ever going to last for the rest of the year before we get into the offseason? Is that going to able to, stand up and really, can he be effective? Since coming back from it, he's been just completely, spot on. He's, spreading the field, getting into Larry Fitzgerald, Michael Floyd, and, just a numerous amount of wide receivers on the team. John Brown has been their deep threat wide receiver, and we saw that today. We saw a lot of deep threat throws to John Brown. He also caught a touchdown to give the Arizona Cardinals a lead against the St. Louis Rams late in the third, I think it was. So, but it all came down into the fourth quarter where Carson Palmer was just doing a standard play where he ran out of the pocket. He kind of adjustedly walked out of the pocket in a quick motion, and then all of a sudden he just fell onto the ground. Everybody was like, "Is this his shoulder? What's the case?" Because Carson Palmer, like I said, had nerve injury into his shoulder, and I said, could this end up being his kryptonite? Did that shoulder finally give out? After playing a hectic past few games since coming back from the injury, he's done a great job. Is this the time where Carson Palmer's shoulder finally gives out? No, it was actually his leg. When he pivoted, he landed straight on the ground and it went into his knee, and he just completely fell. No one touched him, and that was pretty much it. Just the end of play, they gave him a touch, and that was it. Carson Palmer could not get up on his own power. He was helped to the sideline, then he was carted off later on, and the team does feel as Carson Palmer possibly did tear his ACL. Now, this is going to be a big problem for the Arizona Cardinals, and also for Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer just signed an extension. This is a bad time now for the Arizona Cardinals to offer him a contract extension. He's done such a fantastic job since coming over to the Arizona Cardinals, probably playing his best football since leaving Cincinnati. He did not have any success out there in Oakland. Coming over to Arizona, it was probably the best thing for him, and he's had those wide receivers. He has a wide receiving core that was much better than Oakland, obviously. And then ever since Ocho Cinco's prime finally gave up on him, and he decided to go to Miami or whatever the case may be, New England. He was left with T.J. Houshmandzadeh, and he ended up departing, and Carson Palmer was pretty much left with nothing. So he went over to Oakland, did his time there, nothing was going there for him. Comes to Arizona, he completely has a career turnaround, and now he just signed a contract extension that will likely keep him in Arizona for the remainder of his career. I think he's ended up being 35 next year, I think it was. So it was a pretty, at the time, it was a great, opportunity for Carson Palmer to get in that contract extension. It's not a guaranteed contract following the 2016 or during the 2016 year. It's a pay-as-you-go basis. So the Cardinals are not missing out on a whole lot, but they do have to pay him for, this for next season, and also, potentially for, the coming years. I think it was about a 3-year contract extension, but now the team is now going now and, building on who's going to be their quarterback for next week. That obviously means that Drew Stanton is going to end up being their quarterback, and how in depth and how deep is that injury for Carson Palmer? Will he be able to come back? I think this is going to be the end of Carson Palmer for 2014. He gave it, everything that he could. It's just been a big injury problem with him. At first it was his shoulder, now it's an ACL injury. This Arizona Cardinals team finds a way to win every time they go out there. It really shocks me that when you look on the defensive side of the ball, this team just got depleted. John Abraham's injury. You gotta look at Darrell Washington being suspended. Calais Campbell was out for a couple of games. This team has just been shot in the foot, every single week, and they still find a way to win. They're now 8-1, defeated the St. Louis Rams, and now a big chunk of their schedule. This team still has to end up facing Seattle, in 2 games. They have to play the San Francisco 49ers. They have to play the Detroit Lions. There's Kansas City still on their schedule. This team is now getting into, the more struggling, the more powerful games. They also, I think they have to play St. Louis again, but, don't hold that against me. But the Arizona Cardinals continue to find a way to win. Can they win with Drew Stanton? That's the biggest question. When you look at the games what Drew Stanton has done, during this year, he's done a great job. He's done a fantastic job. He's a very, he's up there in, the prime, backup quarterbacks. He's one of the best quarterbacks, in the league as a backup quarterback. We have not seen a quarterback that really, came out of nowhere and really excelled, kind of like how Drew Stanton was. You can give, some praise over to Kirk Cousins for, his small time there, but you can only, say so much about Kirk Cousins. But Drew Stanton has been that quarterback to come in for Carson Palmer following his week 1, shoulder injury against San Diego, and he was able to stay consistent week in and week out and let Arizona get those victories. Their only loss came against the Denver Broncos, and yes, that was Drew Stanton's, poor game out of his entire performance. But the Arizona Cardinals since then have just been, continuously winning games. But can they win without Carson Palmer in the long run? Can Drew Stanton, win him a playoff game? That is something that I'm going to be talking about later on this week. I got a lot of, great articles coming onto my website to talk about this. I honestly think right now, as we speak, can Drew Stanton lead the way for them? I think it's going to be a little bit of a bumpy road. I think we're going to start seeing some losses build up for Arizona. It's going to be a big question mark on how, Drew Stanton is coming into, a situation where he has never been in before. He's been in, situations where he was only, a part-time starter for, 2 games. 3 games. Now he has to finish off the season where there's, 7 games left, and, he's going to be counted on to lead that team to the playoffs. The team did decide to turn to Logan Thomas at one point in that Denver game. Seemed pretty okay, but nothing too, confident in him to really name him the starter over Drew Stanton. I think Drew Stanton is much better and likely option for this team going forward. And this is going to be a pretty interesting time to start watching Arizona Cardinals football. Arizona Cardinals football, Glendale's my backyard. I watch the Arizona Cardinals week in and week out, and watching this team, live above everything. Everybody was doubting them that they can even, break out 10 games or 8 games this year because of their injuries and their suspensions. This team is already 8-1. People think that, this team's going to end up going down the drain and that they're a fraud at, 8-1. No, I believe in the Arizona Cardinals. I think that they can get past the divisional round depending on who they play. If they play, for example, Green Bay, I think Green Bay is going to have their number. It all depends on who they play. But at this current point, the Arizona Cardinals are well on their way to end up winning that division, potentially ending up getting an opportunity to play Green Bay and stand a great game. So we'll just have to wait and see on how Arizona plays out. Can they end up defeating, like I said, those incoming games on their schedule? The 2 Seattle games, the Detroit Lions game next week. So this team is going to have a really tough schedule going forward. Do I think Carson Palmer is going to be missed? Absolutely. Carson Palmer was just coming out of nowhere following a shoulder injury. A lot of things were going in a positive direction for Arizona Cardinal football. Bruce Arians was doing a great job until this injury and his potential ACL injury could cost Carson Palmer the rest of the season. So this is going to be a really interesting time for you guys to stop watching other outside market games and start watching Arizona Cardinals football. This is a very interesting team to watch, including with the quarterback situation that they have at this current point in time. So let me hear your guys' opinion about this. What do you think will happen to the Arizona Cardinals for the remainder of their schedule? Make sure you guys go follow me on Facebook. You guys can also check me out on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter as well. You guys will get a lot of updates and just updates about sports. That's what I'm about. That's what you get here on my YouTube channel. You get nothing but about sports, great topics, discussions, not only in the NFL world, but also in the world of Major League Baseball, Major League Soccer, college football. You guys get everything here on my YouTube channel. Just make sure you click that subscribe button, show your support, and I'll catch you guys next time.